Hi everyone, and welcome to this video. This is my little schizo post here where I'm sitting here on a Sunday talking to myself and reflecting over Flyff. So if you clicked on this video, I assume you're interested in the original Flyff, the desktop version, which is what it's referred to today compared to Universe Flyff, and PvP. So as most of you know, if you're familiar with my channel, I'm Jasper Axel. I've been sieging for over a decade now. Had a lot of experience throughout the years, and I've shared those with you all on this YouTube channel with a lot of siege videos, meme videos, etc. Been through the highs and lows of life, at least on the official side. I started on ABAT, then Tanuki, and then we went back to ABAT again. It's been some good years with like the crazy merge of ABAT in 2019 where we had so many siegers. It was really cool, and then it kind of died off because of cheating and people lost interest and the balance issues and stuff. Now we're at the all-time low, unfortunately. People are either on alternative lives. I'm not going to go into more specifics about that, or they're on Universe Flyff. But I happen to not like Universe Flyff. I don't think the aesthetics is nice. I think the balancing is a little bit weird. Siege is not really my type of this grouping into one corner. But having played the original Flyff for over a decade at the top levels, having experienced alternative Flyffs, I'm not going to go into more, as I said, with respect to the OG Flyff. With the experience from those servers, I understand a little bit about potentially things that we can do to balance Flyff again and make it great. Because currently it's a very big mess in 2025. And yes, if you're interested, Flyff servers are still running in 2025, and some people asking for merge, but currently there's no point because, at least not from the PvP aspect, which has been a major part for me in Flyff. It's a very big mess right now, and I'm using this PowerPoint as a cheap way to try and explain my ideas and how I could help support the game. And I would like to know your feedback on my topics, as I've been schizo rambling here for however long it might be, like 20, 30 minutes. I won't be, unfortunately, I'll be a little bit lazy today. So I will not be, cross-referencing with videos to illustrate my points. It will be a very boring presentation, and all you'll hear is my voice. But I'll try to explain everything from my perspective on how to balance things to make every character, every class have a chance to score points, either through assists or direct impacts in kills, and rebalancing, and how I would approach the game in rebalancing if I was running it. I understand that we have put in a lot of suggestions. Those suggestions have not really been implemented, sadly. Have been implemented in alternative lives, but not in the real one, not in the one we love. Before we start, I just want to, of course, talk about my biases. I'm a BP player, and we know that BPs have been a problem for a very long time. I started uploading on this YouTube channel 2013, and that was quite a big meta shift there. And then I've been sieging from up until now, so I'm getting old now, unfortunately, but still got it in me. But yeah, I have a bias towards BPs, but I am including some nerfs in here for BP because it's important to take BPs down again and also rebalance all the classes to put some emphasis on YJs and Mentalist to try to make them useful, bring back support, etc. So if you're interested in any of that, please have a listen to my schizo rambling here. And if you have any points, stuff, please leave them in the comments, and I would love to discuss this. I'm sitting here on a Sunday, washed up and hungover, just thinking back of the old Fly. I've been watching some videos from 2010, 2011, before I even began, and looked at those players that I thought was so legendary, like Hocus Pocus, Esquire, and Nam Nam and such. And I was like, damn, those were the times. And then my own videos, kind of sounds like narcissistic, but 2015 and such. And it's like, damn, I really want to go back to those sieges. They were good, and people could actually approach siege, and it wasn't just super expensive with all the CS, and every class could do some damage, and it was actually risky because you wouldn't be unkillable and the reflect and stuff, which is annoying. But yeah, this is a brief overview. So this is how lame the PowerPoint will be. It will just be pure text and me rambling. So English is not my first language, but hopefully you can understand my English. If you don't speak fully English, I understand that this might be difficult to follow because I think I speak quite quickly to you all, but I will try to slow down and emphasize what I mean. But of course, there's some major things we need to fix. HP and absorb. As you've probably seen, my HP records have been going through the roof, and I'm not the only one with insane HP anymore, and we really need to fix this. Absorb is also through the roof. I will be showing you how it stacks. So damage absorb needs to be fixed. Range melee block has gone through the roof. We need to fix that such that blades can come back. I have some other ideas for that. Rangers, etc. They should have a chance. CS, we need to fix that. We need to limit it. I have some ideas on how to do that. I don't think a general cap is the solution. We need to group them together. No duplicates, etc. Stat caps, both on speed and some changes to casting skills and stuff like that is needed. Cooldowns on like sleep, for example, cooldowns on artifacts, the new one, cooldowns on combat scrolls, noodles, all these things, very important. General consensus about damage output from different classes, base HP and stuff is important to balance, just the overall class balancing, and how I would set that up for the developers, how I would be doing this. Introduce assist points and hopefully bring back statues because they actually gave another dimension to the game where people who could use the statues could use it in a defensive way or in a very skillful way. And of course, we would implement spawn protection so that you don't get spawn camped by Arcanist. You can actually move away. And all this will compose in this quite long video where I'll just rambling on, but this is the overview. So the caps absorbed, it has damage absorbed, should be either capped at 20 or 50 because it progresses quite linear up to 50. So if you have damage absorbed 50, that actually means that you have double HP. So if you're a BP with 1 million HP and you have 50 damage absorb, you actually have 2 million HP, effectively speaking. I will show a graph of how it scales, but once you go over 50 damage absorb, everything just falls apart. And if you have 100 damage absorb, you actually take no damage. You can only die by one hit rune. That's quite crazy. Range and melee block should be capped at either 50 and 75%. So either it's you have a 50% chance to block it or 75. So either you have to do 2 hits to hit one or 4 hits to hit one. And of course, damages and stuff like that should be reduced and appropriately scaled. Speed should be put at 800. Looking back at my videos, I've always had a bias towards speed. But we are so fast these days that the arena doesn't work. We're too quickly. Everything is buggy. You just can't even run on the ground. You get stuck on item stuff. I think 800 speed, looking back in my videos, that was pretty high. People like that. So I think 800 speed should be a good cap, even though that's quite high by Flyff standards, but that's my bias. I've always loved crazy speed, but anything above 800 just doesn't work really well in my opinion. DCT should be capped at 90, and this is to help all the other classes. So for outcasts, it doesn't matter if a 90 DCT BP outcast another 90 DCT BP, you know, it doesn't matter. But for example, if you're a YJ, if you're a ranger and whatnot, then you want to have a chance at attacking back towards a BP. Well, 100% DCT or cast break is too quickly. No class has even remotely have a chance to counter the BPs. So DCT should be capped, in my opinion, to 90% to remove that, you know, instant animation. To bring some balance back. And I have really thought about this, and I think that for outplays and outcast and stuff like that, I was known for 90% DCT is completely fine. It just looks a little bit different. It actually looks cooler. It's kind of like a slow down version, and it will give the other classes a chance to actually hit back at the BPs, which I think is good. It's like a YJ Penya strike in that sense, that they actually have a chance to, you know, strike us first. All projectile cast skills should be as fast as an arrow, which is 650 speed. It's lower than the max speed, so I like the idea that people that put a lot of time into movement to run around smoothly from side to side and not just jump against the walls, etc., should be able to outrun all these projectiles like arrows and bubbles and whatnot. But all the other skills should be put to 650 so they have a chance, otherwise they can't hit anything. Like Mentalist are completely useless in that sense. Other than some skills, but yeah. 650 on those, but still so that you can outmaneuver your opponents if you have good speed and good movement. Arcanist sleep, 10-second cooldown, very needed. Sleep spam has been annoying since day one. Remove that ASAP. Arcanist have had some other buffs that I'm going to talk about. Remove one hit rune. I don't like the idea of one hit rune, even though I kind of abused it in a bit in my recent videos. I don't like it for PvP. It's a cool thing, but it's not a big thing if it's in the game, but I don't really like it. I think my vision is that every class coming into Sheet should be able to kill using damage outputs. And I will talk about that more, but I don't like the randomness of one hit rune and reflect and stuff like that. Triggering it. Speaking of reflect, remove that. I don't like to get reflect kills, even though it's funny, it's cool. Maybe cool for a little bit, especially back in the days when you had very little reflect from champion set, the champion jewelry set, and you combine that with the old reflect artifact, and you could actually get some kills. That was really funny back in the days, but they were very rare. Nowadays they are everywhere, and I want it removed. Please, we need to get kills in other ways than reflect. I know there's some people that really have always dreamt of this idea of having a character that comes into Siege, is unkillable, and gets everything from reflect. I don't really like that. If you watch my videos, you probably know I'm more about that game play and mechanics and stuff like that, skills that I really like, to pilot different characters and have them useful rather than just stand still and get kills from innocent people. They're just trying to see if they can kill you or not. So yeah, remove the reflect. Should not be able to do reflect damage from PvP. This is an output of how damage absorb works. I use Desmos to visualize it. It's a graph. In the x-axis, you see that 10, 20, 30. That's going in the horizontal axis there. That's your damage absorb. And in the y-axis, that is the multiple times of your HP. So you can see that, and at the axis of 50, it goes to the y-axis of 2. That means that when you have 50 of damage absorb, you actually have 2 times or twice the base HP. And once you get, to 75 damage absorb, you go to 4 times, and then it just balls completely out of control after 50. I put a linear graph or linear equation right next to it, so you can see that from 10 to 50, it's sort of like it feels natural to us humans, linear progression. So between 0 and 50 damage absorb, many of us can understand how damage absorb works. But after 50, it just completely spirals out of control. So I think damage absorb should be put somewhere between 20 and 50. If you put it at 20, then the good old artifact that it gives you 75 is completely useless. So I think 50 is fine if you just. It's basically a variable that can be changed and is dependent on everything else. So if you put damage absorb at 50, then of course all the other damages from all the other clashes has to go up. If you put it at 20, then the artifact is useless, which I don't mind, but then you have to shrink down the damages up and down, because if we remove damage absorb, then there's no tanking in the game. So we do want some tanking in the game, but we don't want to use damage absorb because it is stupid. You can become unkillable. So damage absorb was a mistake, still is a mistake, and we should cap it, forget it, and move on. So cap it at 50, so that if you cap it at 50, people will still be happy about having damage absorb from their gear, like serifs, etc. If you put it at 20, then we just say fuck it and move on. Never think about it again. In my opinion, you can do whatever you want, but no more than 50 in my opinion. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. As you can see, the red bar just keeps going up to infinity, and if you have 100 damage absorb, you take no damage. CS, I don't like general cap on CS, like, oh, you can only use 50. The reason why is, imagine that you optimize it and you put together 50 CSs. Then you might want to start using artifacts at the beginning, or a noodle or whatever. Can't use them anymore because you accidentally already capped yourself. So then you have to put yourself at oh, I can do 47, and then I have to use artifact, and then I have to use this, blah, blah, and it's a mess. So instead, I would go with the idea that you can't use duplicates. So n bind all this, only one. So only one 2011 card, only one egg, and so forth. And then to do further balancing to remove the CS count, we're going to group them together. So you can only use one from specific groups. So for example, one group that I thought up is, there's a group of CS that are soul linked that comes from boxes that are like blueberry that gives you plus 15 all stat. Then there's one that gives you potent that gives you like 10% MP or 15% MP, I think it is. And then there's one that is 15% HP. With the grouping thing, in the code, you basically put them all together in the group and you say you can only use one of these. So you can either use the 15 all stat, the 15 HP, or the 15 MP. You can't use all three of them. This would limit the amount you can use because of the groupings. This should be explained for all the users to understand or can figure out the groupings. And it will sort of like make you give you a choice of like either focus on damage or focus on HP, etc. And that could be, nice new combinations. So grouping CS together. You can think of it as, unstable flasks, regular flasks, and then elixirs that you can't use all of them, so you have to combine them. I don't like the idea that you have to, secretly unlock them by activate them in a specific order, but the idea that some CS blocks other CS should be implemented widely so that we don't run into a situation where we continuously have to, oh, it was this generic series from 2024, now it's back for 2025. The name has changed, the stat has improved, so now I'm going to use the old one and the new one. We're just piling on endless amount of CS. We need to stop. You can see my videos. There's just too much CS. Can't even see the screen anymore. If you want to bring in new CS that is better than the old CS to get people involved in sieging and farming it, well, make sure that the new CS blocks the old CS so that you simply I didn't farm it that much this year. Well, then I can use the worse old version. And if you active this siege this year and farm this CS, well, then you can activate the new one, but not the old one. So you don't stack them endlessly, and you still have an incentive to farm the new one because it has a little bit better stats. But stacking them all is just endless, and then people that comes into the game have no chance of getting the amount of CS I have because I've been playing since over a decade. Balance certain CS is important. I should also mention the cooldowns. We need cooldowns on noodles, combats, artifacts, the new artifacts. So you can only use them once every 10 minutes. So one in the beginning, one in halftime, or if siege even lasts 10 minutes. Hopefully, with all these balance chases, we will have a siege that lasts 20 minutes because people will be able to kill, but also tank a little bit. But we'll see. We'll see what can happen. But yeah, a cooldown is needed for noodles. Cannot use two noodles at once. Same for combats. All of these things should be implemented. I think they would be very good. Balance certain CS like 50% attack, 50% PvP is just too strong. I don't even know how to balance that. I understand the incentive of trying to make them better, but it doesn't help YJs, and then Rangers can now do more damage with charge hack than BPs, and then it's a mess, and then some classes still can't do any damage. So I will go through how to fix that, but please don't bring these crazy 50% attack CS in and stuff like that. It just doesn't work. It's nice for PvE. I really like that, but for Siege, please, we need to fix that. You should be able to activate one CS multiple times to stack the time. So for example, if it's a flash arms, you can, it's 3 minutes, you activate it twice, you get a 6 minutes. That's really nice. And if you don't remove them when you die in PvP or in arena and stuff like that, that would help a lot of people. So before siege starts, they can basically stack the times that they need for 20-30 minutes. And when they go into siege, when they die, they don't have to reactivate it. And so, the stress of being alone in a lineup, when you die, you have to buff yourself, CS up, it's quite stressful. In this case, it's quite nice for everyone. You go in, you stack the CS you need. If you die, they're still active, and that's pretty nice. And hopefully they should be readily available in the game. No Soul Link, because that's just annoying. Should be available for purchase, and I see they have put that in the store, or farming in the events. And the idea here is that I want new players to catch up to us old players, because we have some CS that they don't have, and even worse, I have some CS that is so linked that the new players cannot even get because that was an event from a long time ago, and I can't even send it or trade it or sell it or anything like that. So yeah, please no souling for all the CS in the game. That would also solve the problem where they don't stack. Uh, like you can have 5 different MP refreshers. They all do the same thing, but because they come from different events with different soul link mechanism, they simply don't stack, and that's just annoying with the inventory space. Yeah, so that's about CS. So no duplicates, so only one egg of a certain type, so only one speed egg. Use the better one. Only one 2011 card. Group them together to balance it so that you can't have all the HP, all the speed, all the, make a good like grouping to limit the number. So put some balance, cool down on the annoying one like Noodles. Noodles shouldn't even be in the game from the beginning. It was a mistake. 2013, that's when it was released. But at least the cooldown should fix it. So you can only use it once or one every 10 minutes. Bring back support. Support players are not used that often, and if they're used, they're very toxic. So remove sleep spam because sleep means that the target is stunned, so he's useless. So please remove that and replace it with the with the grasp spam, the sneaker, or whatever the mentalist one is. So mentalist should also be able to play support. You'll see that in a little bit, but we need to bring back support players again. And an incentive is to give them assist points. So normally you get 2 points for a kill, and I want to introduce the assist point. And I believe there might be some alternative Flyffs that are using this, but they don't exist on the official Flyff, the OG one, the real one. So when you have caused damage or debuff, so grasp or HC, to enemy target, a counter should start within 10 seconds. Doesn't have to show on the screen or anything. But if the target is eliminated by a friend, you gain an assist point. So if you are grasp support for a YJ or something, or BP, whatever, you grasp a target, you put HC on it. If your friend eliminates the target, you get assist points, which is really great. So you have incentive to play. You could actually buff it up to 2 assist points, but I'm thinking 1 point should be a good start. I also have an idea of making support players live a little bit longer, but we'll see the balancing with the BPs. And hopefully this should encourage more support play. Maybe not to the annoying, stupid, extreme end of Universe Flyff with the healing and stuff, but some balance in between. And it should focus on knights, seraphs, and Psykeepers, etc. So that Psykeepers can, for example, debuff targets, and those are debuffs that cannot be removed by holies. You'll see that in a little bit. That's my thinking. Yeah, so here's something that I will mention a lot. I will talk about full star gear. So what I mean by that, for example, if I say that a BP is full star with full star gear, in the back of my head, I'm thinking that their base stat is all in the stamina, and that they're using full stamina gear. So land, SR, knuckle, shield, HB gear, HB fashion, HB jewelry, and that's the tank I'm thinking of. So high HB support players like knights and seraphs with all HB should tank speed ASOs, and they should tank Arcanists. They should tank arrows. They should basically not be one hit by anything other than a full strength, full damage BP with the ASOL. So ASOL should be used as a counter towards unkillable people. So no one should be invisible or invincible. Sorry, in the game. A suicide BP, as we refer to them, should be able to eliminate anything. But remember that a suicide BP is also, very vulnerable. So that's the sort of the counterplay or the one I want. But I don't. When I started off playing the game, most support players they died to basically everything, so there wasn't really good support for them. I want that high HP support players with maxed out gear. I'll be talking about that in a little bit about the maxed out gear. Should be able to tank basically almost everything in the game, except for multiple combined attacks from like a ranger, a blade that does multiple crits very close to one another, or a BP that flat out kills it if it's full strength with full damage. And when I mean full damage, I mean like fire R, knuckle, shield, damage on fashion, damage on, or maybe not damage. Oh, actually, damage on fashion, damage on jewelry, damage on the main gear, so that they're slow and vulnerable. But you know, when I started playing the game, they introduced, that was in 2013. They introduced, or was it 2014? I think it was 2013 and 2014. They introduced the 5-line awakes. That made it so that Josper could basically, as full stack, kill everything in speed. That's how bad that was. So you could imagine that Master Me, 600k before five line SK, a 600k Knight maxed out at 150, died to Josper running around in full speed, full stack. That was stupid, and we don't want that. So we want that high HP support players should be able to tank all speed BPs. They have to swap to a damage, knuckle, and shield so that they're slow, such that the support players can, have time to react, etc. Yep, that's support. How do you balance the classes? I'm thinking you put up a test server. I know the developers have these. What you do is you max out all the gear. Yes. So basically, I'm gonna be straight on. Duping is something that we can't really stop on Official Flyff. It's gotten too out of hand. It's been too many years. The exploits everywhere. So you have to assume that all the players that siege have maxed out gear at this point. So I think a maxed out geared character is a reference that is valid. Compare, talking about how Siege is today. A maxed out gear is more reasonable than it was back when I started playing and duping wasn't really a thing. And if you had a really good knuckle, you would actually have it named after you, and people would talk about, oh, that's the Gracilia star knuckle. That was, or Gracicilia, that one. That was really good. Oh, that's Hocus Pocus wedge set. That is completely busted or whatever. But nowadays, everyone has maxed out gear. So what you do is you max out all the gear, you put out all the CS. Please, after the CS has been limited, no duplicate stack. Put them in categories to limit the choices, and then you put them all up in the PvP arena, and you start doing damage to one another. And what you do is you balance the base HP. So, for example, Knights and Build Posters, they have the highest base HP in the game. Arcanist has the lowest. So you would understand, what HP they will have in the range. And then you balance the damage output. And the vision you should have is that every class should have a chance to block incoming damage in HP modes, not just BPs, but full strength BPs with damage gear should be able to kill everything as a counter. So no one should be invisible, but for example, a ranger, you will see a little bit later, should be able to kill people in damage mode. They should be able to kill people in full strength. They should be able to kill targets, which is not just food or people with low gear or low CS. That's more like an Arcanist thing. You'll see that in a little bit. But right now the problem is that BPs can basically almost tank everything and almost kill everything, other than some charge hacking stuff you can do on a ranger that can counter it. But I will talk about rangers in a bit as well. But I want the idea to be that every class should be able to do some kind of damage, but we still want HP to be a valid option. When I started playing the game and 5 lines were introduced, no one could tank anything because you could one-shot everything. I like that. I personally really like that idea because then it was like speed and damage, and you either died to a ranger or you killed the ranger. If you had block, you could block it. Every BP could attack and kill every other BP. So then speed was critical, getting as high speed as possible. Arcanist unfortunately kind of died off after a little while. But yeah, I very much prefer the idea that every class should be able to maybe not one hit everything, but at least multiple hits. Sorry, my headphones died, which should be an indication for me that I've been dragging these out for a very long time. Sorry, but there's so much to fix. There's so much to fix in Flyff, and I really like the game, but there's a lot of things to do. But we need to balance the damage output. And I will go into the classes specifically now. We need to bring back blades. They will benefit a lot from the limitation of the melee block. So that should be the fact that they could hit with crits and stuff like that should really boost them, because right now they just get blocked, and the only thing they can do is use the stupid wand trick, where you use 2-1s to, bypass all the block. And a cool side effect is that you actually throw people back, so it's a pretty good support technique to just use one blade, but it's really stupid and should be a thing. So we need to bring back the blades. And a really cool thing that you can do is you can bring back the old attack bug. So this was before even I started playing, but if a blade caught you, they would continuously attack you for a certain amount of time. So they would catch you, you would run away, and they would stand still and just range you basically. So if a blade caught you, they would have a set of strikes on you. And of course, if you were spamming Remantis, you would survive, but if the blade got lucky with a high crit, multiple crits and whatnot, you would be gone. So I think this is something that we need to bring back to the blades, so that if the blades catch up to you with some speed, they should be able to just hit you for a few strikes, like 5 to 10 slashes, somewhere in between that, before they have to start running and catch you again. This was something that was a thing back in the days, and blades were super, super powerful. Now they're basically useless. Well, they're really good in PvE, so they've always been very good in the game. But for PvP, blades just suck, and this is something that would bring it back. There's probably other things you can do, but this is the one major thing that I really think blade should have. Less melee block, either 50% or 75%, as I saw before, as a limit. And then this continuous attack if you catch someone should be brought back. YJs, they need to be buffed. And my vision of it is that a YJ with Penya Strike, remember that YJs have a counter. They also have a Dark Illusion, so they're pretty. They can survive. They're pretty buff, and they can also put on HP gear, and speed and stuff. So they're like a BP, but a minor version. But right now they're completely useless, unfortunately. So my vision is that a YJ should be able to kill everything that is full damage. So full strength, BPs, full dex, rangers that are in damage mode. Including I actually think that if you are a full star BP or a full star ranger and you have your damage gear on, you should still die to a YJ that is using Penya Strike, or putting together multiple yo-yos after you, which now would run at 65 speed, so it would be as quick as an arrow. So the yo-yos would actually catch up to you and would actually cause some damage. I don't remember what the skill is called, but there's like a YJ skill that you shoot arrows almost like you shoot away some yo-yos that follow the targets like an arrow, and the speed of those yo-yos should be put to 650. And I think that if you're full star and you have damage gear on you, you should die to the YJ. But we can't have the YJs become too strong, because then they will just be invisible and invincible at the same time. So of course, if you have any type of HP gear, so a HP bow, HP suit, and a helmet on a ranger, and you're full star, you should be able to tank the YJ. So the YJs need to time it. It needs to be a matter of timing it. They have to run around in siege invisible using Dark Illusion, and then they have to see the target, and if they find someone that is chasing someone or shooting arrows in damage mode, then they should focus on that guy, so it should be like a timing thingy. And that's what's always so much fun about the YJs. Never really posted YJ gameplay on my channel, sadly. But I've played them on alternative lives, and I think YJs to be brought back. They're a really cool class, and they should be able to kill everyone that is full damage or full star in damage mode. That should be a good thing. If you are a full strength BP with slow HP gear, I still think you should be able to tank a YJ. So I'm not saying that the only counterplay should be like full staff, full HP mode, and you barely tank them because they will do like millions of damage or whatever. No, I don't. I'm not saying that, but YJs needs to be buffed so that they can kill, people in damage mode outright. And they should, the other skills are boosted by the 650 speed boost. BPs. I'm a BP player myself. I always love BPs, but it's time to nerf them a little bit. And my vision of a BP player has always been like you are a selective assassin. You can kill a target every 15 seconds, and it's important that you kill the right targets. So you have to kill the people that are not your drama per se, that you have to kill the guys that you hate in the game and talk shit all the time about. So it's not a drama related gameplay idea. It's more like the actual mechanic should be like, okay, you see a guy that is scoring a lot of points. It's a powerful Arcanist. Well, you need to use your Azel on him to limit his score ability. Or put out or take out this support player because he's being annoying to your players. Then you have to use your Azel, not just on random tab targets, but more on selective players. And in my head, full strength plus full damage gear BP should always be able to kill everything in the game. Otherwise, we'll run into a situation where people are invincible, and that would be horrible. Full star BPs with full star gear should get tanked by other full star BPs and support players. So, for example, if you're a full star BP and you have damage gear, it should not be enough to kill other full star BPs, in my opinion, and not support players. If there is an annoying ringmaster or an annoying knight on the other side, you should have to put some strength in, like half strength or full strength, to counter that support players. Because if you have a full star BP that can kill everything in the game, it's not balanced. So full star BPs should be able to, selectively take out targets with good timing, but should not be able to kill everything in game. If you want to kill everything in game, you have to be full strength. That's my end of it. Noodle cooldown, a general damage lowering is important too, but that's a tweaking that you have to do on the private server, right? Or on the test server, right? You put all the classes there. You have put them at max level. You have put them at max gear and all the CS that should be available for them. And then you see like, okay, can a ranger do a lot of damage? Are they doing too much damage? Okay, then you have to lower the damage output from arrows in connection with crit improvements and damage absorb and additional damage. There's a lot of stats. That is a very complicated stuff. So I'm not gonna claim that it's an easy thing to do. But that's my idea. That we have to lower the damages and make them more even, so that BPs are not the only ones that can kill everything and tank everything. And of course, people that are full strength, full damage are often referred to historically as suicide attackers or suicide BPs. Because that's the thing, right? They would come in, they would kill all the high HP players, and because they're full strength, they are also easy prey. So, you can kill people and then you can die very quickly. So it was like a gambling, like a glass cannon. Flyff doesn't have a glass cannon anymore because the BPs tank everything and kill everything. So need to fix that. We need to put the DCT down to 90. Outcasts are still okay, but opposing classes actually have a chance of striking back at the BPs. Like arrows, blades can hit, Pena strike should be timed in a way that, they like, for example, if I chase down a YJ who's in mid-air and comes down, my 100% DCT Azel at this point hits before his Pena strike. It hits before he even has time to open up his counter. Like, there is little to nothing that the other classes can do against a BP that has 100 DCT up close. Like, you have no chance to react. No arrows, no nothing is fast enough to deal with that. So we need to put it down to 90 DCT. I want to see the return of Sonic Hand and Stone Hand combination so that you can stun people and also block incoming Azels. So, for example, Sonic Hand is not affected by DCT, so you always have the same cast speed. And if I'm dropping down from mid-air and a BP is down below me, chasing me, this is a perfect opportunity to perform an outcast. But let's say I'm on cooldown and I know the BP that's chasing me is, full strength, full damage. I'm screwed basically. A good counterplay, in my opinion, that worked in the past but doesn't work anymore because of the max DCT, is that you can actually start using Sonic Hand on the incoming BP, and as he's trying to Azel you, you can stun lock him with the Stone Hand, and you can stun him, and then start running away again, and waiting for your cooldown to be over. So it's like a cool counterplay between classes. So BPs lose the max DCT, they lose a lot of damage, They lose all that crazy speed. It goes down to 800. But this Sonic Hand, Stone Hand combination could be a good support for the BPs, and they can use this on other classes to fight back against graspers and stuff like that. That they can go around stunning people, so that they also they have a purpose um, when they're on cooldown, rather than just jumping it down, waiting for the cooldown to be off. They could actually support players by stunning them and whatnot. And I also think the holies should not block these stuns. Keep in mind though that if it works the way it does today, then if you stun someone, they're stunned for a very long time. Uh, the stun debuff effect should only last for like 1 or 2 seconds, so it's only a short stun, and you can't remove them with holies. Then it's kind of balanced because, or well, you can also just spam holies, which are expensive, but there's no cooldown on holies. I think everything would be solved if we have a cooldown on holies. But I really like the idea of trying at least to come up with a way to have a useful Sonic Hand. And of course, I don't like the idea of combining it with one hit rune. I think it should just be like a stun support thing. And if we could put like a 3 second, 5 second cooldown on holies, well, then you can just spam holies and survive every debug. You have to time, your holies. You have to time everything like that. Yeah, Rangers. They are boosted by the block reduction, so that will help them kill a lot of targets. They have very long range; they can hit everything. Um, they have to remove the charge up in PvP. There are too many people throughout the years that have been using charge hack, and it has never really been solved. So charge hack is a very problematic thing, and I think removing the charge up is just a good way to balance things. As I said, right now there are rangers that can hit more than full strength BPs. Like it's flying ASOS at this point at 650 speed, without any cooldowns. So I think before you start nerfing the rangers, you should remove the charge up. It should not work in PvP. It should work against bosses and stuff like that. But for PvP, charging should not be possible for your arrows or your wands, I think. Just like because people are abusing it so much with the charge hack, right? And it's difficult to balance it. So I think disable it for PvP. I think the range block reduction will be a huge boost for rangers, and good rangers can switch to a yo-yo to activate counter. But I think maybe it's just better if rangers can use counter with their yo-yo with their bows. So for those who don't know, if you have a yo-yo, you can use this move that lets you counter any incoming attack, like an ASO. Rangers, I think, should be able to perform that counter with a bow. Should help them quite a lot to survive. And then they have Dark Illusion and stuff, so it's they can survive a lot in there. Um, yeah, and I think the vision of a ranger is that you're also an opportunistic person, right? Uh, you should not be able to kill everything in the game because then it reminds me of a few Lycan sieges that was quite a long time ago when a few rangers could come in there, spam tab, and kill everything in the game. It was pretty. It wasn't the most exciting siege. It was pretty, interesting and amusing to watch, but it's not a very skillful thing where you just spam tab and your arrow key and then you kill everything in the game and there's no counter. But the idea is that they should be able to crit kill everyone that is not in HP mode. So for example, if I'm a full star BP and I swap to my speed gear and I go for a kill on a ranger, like back in the days of 2015, then the ranger should be able to crit kill me. So if he lands an arrow on me and I have 90 DCT, I should be able to die. But if I, crit is, based on chance, so it's not 100%. But if I'm full star with full HP gear, then of course the rangers should not be able to kill me because then we have invisible rangers running around with maximum attack range and kills everything. So it's pretty lame. So rangers should be opportunities, just like the YJs, and they should be going for people that are attacking others. So like people that are engaging in chases, other rangers that are throwing arrows. Find your opportunities to strike, but maybe you shouldn't be able to one hit a full star knight. Mentalist. This class has been completely useless for as long as I can remember. Um, One thing we could do is turn it into support class. The debuff it has can be turned into like negative speed, negative block and stuff like that, remove block, remove speed. And these debuffs should last for a few seconds and should not be able to be removed by Holy. Holy should be on a cooldown, by the way. That's what I forgot to mention. Or I said it before, but I didn't write it out. I think Holies need to have a cooldown. Romantis, Romantis maybe should technically have a cooldown, but I'm fine with it being spammable. Obviously, for leveling and outside, we definitely need to be able to spam Romantis, but Holies should not be spammable, because then every support class is useless, can't debuff anything. Should have good grasp support. It's called something else, but it can like sneaker people, but it's called, the skill is something else. The teleport mechanic is not used in this game. The teleport skill that the Mentalist have, and it should start being used again. You should be able to teleport for longer distances from one statue to another. And when you perform the teleport, if you have people targeting you, they should lose the target. It's the same as, for example, if a ranger uses Dark Illusion. If I'm a BP and I have a ranger on target and they use Dark Illusions, then I lose target as they perform the Dark Illusion. Should be the same thing here. I should teleport for a greater distance away, which is a good maneuver. And if anyone had a target on me, that will be removed. I think that would be a super cool technique. And the cooldown should probably be roughly equal to Dark Illusion. So it shouldn't be spammable, but shouldn't take forever either. All the projectiles from the Mentalist, all the bubbles should be the same speed as arrows. Just copy paste it. Should be good. And some people might complain and say, "Oh, well, these people will just run away from it." Well, the thing is that if you are a BP or YJ, whatever, that's gonna run 800 speed, if you mess up your movement or jump against a wall, then all these arrows and all these bubbles are gonna land at you at the same time, and you're gonna be destroyed immediately. So being able to run away from these arrows and bubbles has both its pros and its cons. So it's really like you need to know what you're doing to avoid it. Otherwise, you're just eliminating yourself because you're gonna stack all the arrows and all the bubbles to attack you at the same time. And my vision, of course, is that we want these different skills that the mentalist can do. One skill should not one hit, but the ability to spam should combine good pressure. Yeah, that's basically what I tried to say. So one bubble or one of the different skills that I have shouldn't be able to one hit things, but it should be able to combine them together and get kills. It should work pretty good like that. Of course, full strength BP with full damage gear should die immediately from one bubble. I'm talking not about the water bubbles, but the other Psykeeper Mentalist bubbles. I'm washed. I don't remember their skills, what they're called. A full sta BP in full damage gear should tank at least one. But of course, if he gets hit by multiple, he should die. So he has to spam Remontis to counter that. So it's all timing and reaction based. And of course, one bubble should not be able to kill like a full stun knight. We have to be reasonable. Should be able to kill something, but not everything. Unless you can stack a lot of bubbles together, then yeah, pretty much everything in the game will die. Arcanist is very hard to balance because they're either the best in the game or doesn't do anything. It's always been very strong against weak geared players with low CS and can score They can basically win siege alone. 10-second cooldown on the sleep. If we put a cooldown on the holies, this should be a good nerf. But otherwise, you could, just like the stun that I talked about before, it's like, okay, you can only use a sleep once per 10 seconds. But if you sleep a target, they're stunned for like 2 to 3 seconds and they can't hold it away. So you can actually like stuck people, and they can't, spam holies to avoid it. But you have a 10-second cooldown. So yeah, should be some kind of balance in between there. Everstorm is very difficult to balance. I'm thinking that you also have these. If you have an Earth suit, you have a damage reduction immediately on Everstorm because it's a light attack or electric attack, I should say, lightning attack. But when I've played against Arcanist from the beginning, they were very good against weak players, and they could also kill full strength, full damage BPs. And I think that could be a reasonable thing. So like if you're full strength BP with full damage gear, you should be able to you should probably die to one Evastorm from a very strong, full int, full maxed out damage Arcanist. Uh, but as I said, it's a very difficult balancing. Maybe you should not be able to spam Evastorm to balance it out. Um, but yeah, of course, if you have a very strong Arcanist, you should not be able to one shot a knight, full star knight using your Evastorm. So you have to do multiple Evastorms to uh, to, um, to take those out. And my idea is that okay, I have a CN Arcanist, I am full star. Well, if I swap into damage mode, I should at least survive one. So if I'm a full star BP or a full star YJ, I go in for an attack, I get hit by the Everstorm, I should survive it because I'm full star. Otherwise, there's no way to attack the Arcanists because they're just one shot everyone that is in damage mode. So there should be a balance here. It would be cool if we go back to the old school elementers. So maybe some more damage boost on the range skills. So it's not just Evastorm. It's the other wind field and whatnot. And those debuffs were really cool, like remove 50 speed and stuff like that. So I would like the idea of trying to buff those skills to be just as good. It should be able to provide CM support that it's hero skill, I think it's called. Uh, Everything does twice damage. I think that should be a debuff that works. It has a certain chance to hit. I think that chance should either be 100% or much higher, so that you can, more often like, okay, I'm going up against a BP. First, I use CM to double my damage. I should have range on that, and then soon after my CM hits, I should wind field, and that should be an effective double damage on a BP. I think that could be a cool mechanic, and the BP should be able to counter it if he times his holies correctly. But a cooldown on the holies would make these more interesting. And it should also have the teleport skills that I talked about before. So it can teleport from one statue to the other, and when it teleports, anyone who had targets on them will lose their targets. Bring back statues. I think that's my last point. Yeah, it is. I really liked statues. I know I was the first one to really abuse it like that. But I think it had a cool element to some extra defense. Um, First thing you should do is add spawn protection. I know you had this in there at some point. I think it was Webson's developers that had it in. So when you spawn into the game, just like in regular arena, you can't do damage and you can't receive damage for the first 3 seconds. So if you spawn in close to a statue, you should be able to move away from the statue before you would take damage. So this should avoid the spawn killing. And the statues can then be used by every other class to, it's a YJ chasing me, it's a Ranger chasing me, it's a BP chasing me. Oh, I can jump into the statues, and if you're good enough, you can jump in between statues. So it's a cool skill that I really liked. I'm not exactly sure how to counter the toxic play, which is if you stack, you have a guild and you stack 5 Arcanists in the same statue. We need to find a balance to this. Of course, you could, if you're a good team, you can just say, oh, the statue 4 has a lot of Arcanists, don't go there. You can do that, but I think a better one is if Evastorm does team damage. So if you have 3 Arcanists all standing together, then they damage and stun one another. This should prevent the idea of, putting so many Arcanists in the same statue, because they will simply eliminate one another or stun one another. So I think Everstorm should be team damage, since it doesn't target anything. You don't have a target, you just randomly cause an AoE attack. So I think it should do friendly damage. However, when you kill a friend, you should not be getting points, of course. That's probably going to be the first bug in the game, that you can start killing your own teammates. So if you accidentally kill your own teammates, they should just lose a life, which is really bad for you. It would be cool if you can get negative points, but I think that will crash the game immediately. So I think if you accidentally kill a friendly using Everstorm, it should just remove a life from a player and put you at a disadvantage. So now I've been schizo rambling for an hour. I'm sorry about that. I hope you could follow along. My idea is to limit the CS, put cooldowns on things that should be have a cooldown like sleep and noodles. Um, make sure that classes have a purpose like support with assist points. Make sure every class can perform some sort of damage. BPs are the only one that should, be able to kill everything if they're full strength with full damage gear. At this point, duping is everywhere and it's very easy to find. It's very difficult to stop. I'm sorry about that. Uh, I understand that you're working as a developer team to stop it, but at this point, everybody basically has maxed out gear. So you should assume that when you're balancing the game, you should assume that everyone has maxed out gear at this point. Sadly, um, it's not like the good old days when you would have what you have. Um, no, everybody has maxed out gear, which in my opinion is a good balance. I really like that. That it's not just super pay to win. People can get the gear easily, but consumables, the CS, the prems or whatever you call it, the perms, prems. I don't know, premium items. I don't even know what to call it on the universe. Fucking Pepega Life. Anyways, that's me rambling like a schizo crazy man. I really hope to turn this game around, but right now in 2025 it's completely dead. There are no sieges left. Damage absorb is through the roof. Reflect killers everywhere. You spam all these stupid items. People can either kill nothing or kill everything, and there's no balance inside. And it's very sad because I think if we bring changes, positive changes into PvP for the official Flyff, people will come back and probably spend money on the game, which would be good for you developers. I don't think it's you can try and compete with desktop Flyff against universe Flyff with new bosses, new stuff like that, but you're not really gonna get the player base. I don't think anyone would come back to this Flyff now compared to universe Flyff for anything other than the good old PvP. And PvP should be balanced so that every class has a purpose. Support, a BP should be balanced with 90 DCT and 800 speed and such. And I think that's the best way to try and bring back Flyff. Make sure every class can have a purpose in the game, or at least in the PvP sense. It's going to take a lot of work to balance that, but I could help you out as much as I can. But it's just suggestions at the end of the day. And if you have listened this far, I don't know why, but I guess this works kind of like a podcast in a sense. But yeah, I'm happy that you all listened. If you got this far, please leave a like. And if you have any thoughts on what I mentioned, if you're interested in seeing these in alternative Flyffs and the regular Flyff, please let me know. Yeah, that's me rambling. So I'll see you all in the next video. Take care.